Welcome back to Commercial Breaks with Miss Education. I'm Miss Education. All right. So I think episode 24, I don't know the number, but I do remember, I think it's entitled Trading in our 1, 2, 3s and ABCs for SEL and LGB. In that episode, I was talking about what's going on in the education system and this shift, this systematic, quiet shift that I'm I guess a part of because I'm part of the system, but I'm watching, I'm witnessing, I'm privy to, and it's just heartbreaking, right? And I thought about it the other day. I was like, SEL. I was like, you know what? No, I got to clarify this SEL thing. SEL, right? Originally, right, was social emotional learning. When in its purest form is absolutely amazing. And like I've been in education. I'm finishing year 19, and in the classroom, I was doing SEL before SEL was coined, right? And I'm not saying, I'm better than anyone. What I'm saying is I'm human, and I have a love of people that Christ put in me, right? So SEL is just seeing a person for who they are, where they are, and trying to, encapsulate the entire person. Let me take this away. The entire person, right? So it's meeting you where you were. And in the Bible, that's what Jesus did, right? Before he went around and he started preaching and converting people, he met them where they were. So if they were hungry, he fed them. And from there, he, ministered. I mean, that is a type of ministry, but that's when he started with, the gospel. If you needed money or if you needed healing, he healed you. And then he started preaching. That's SEL, social emotional learning, right? To get someone to learn something. If I need you to learn something, I need to put you in a position where you can receive the information, you can receive the learning. That's SEL in its original form. And I was doing that from Jump Street, right? Because that's the way I was raised. That's the way I saw my parents move. My father was an educator and a pastor, and that's just how he moved. My mom is an educator, and that's how she is with all her students. She meets them where they are and then helps them to get to where they need to be. So in the classroom, I always say I teach math for insurance purposes, and I educate because I love, right? I teach the 1, 2, 3s because I need the insurance, guys. I need to pay my bills and feed the children. But I educate because I absolutely love educating the entire child. And that's more than just the numbers. It's just as who we are, who you are, understanding your purpose, understanding your calling. And I'm not I can see you and I know what your calling is in life, but I'm definitely one who'd be like, I try to, show and teach my students that there's a way to walk in this world, right? There's a way to walk in this world where we can be kind to people, where we can agree to disagree, right? Even though I may not agree with your thoughts, your lifestyle, your appearance, whatever it is, I could still love you and I could still respect you as a person. And even if I don't respect you, I could still treat you with human dignity, right? So that to me is that original SEL. And so I thought about it. I was like, here I was talking about, they're trading in ABCs 1, 2, 3s for SEL and LGB. Well, let me redefine that. When I say they're trading in our ABCs and 1, 2, 3s, they're taking education out of the classroom to intentionally dumb down our children. And they're giving them instead this social emotional and this LGBTQ rainbow stuff. SEL, I'm going to redefine it. It's my thing right now. So social emotional is the original, but that's not what they're doing. They're not doing social emotional. They are raising a bunch of sensitive, entitled learners. S for sensitive, entitled for E, L for learners. It's still SEL. And that is exactly what they're doing, guys. In our classrooms, and most people here who are watching are mothers. Ladies, when we send our children to these public schools, they are encouraging, teaching, and don't get it twisted, so are we as mothers. Like this new generation of motherhood, we got to do better. But the school system is pushing the sensitivity thing, right? Everybody's so sensitive. Like I deal with discipline, And I had a kid who, he got pushed. So I got called in. And so I asked him, I say, what's up? What's wrong? And immediately he starts crying. And I'm so confused right now because I'm like, what you crying about? Like, I know you see me, most kids who see me are like, oh, shoot, I'm in trouble. I'm like, sweetheart, what happened? And I'm like, why are you crying? And genuinely, I was concerned. I'm like, why is he crying? Because if he's hurt, I need to take him to the nurse. Why are you crying right now? What? I'm sorry. You're okay. You are okay. And the minute he realized that I wasn't coming for him, then all of a sudden the tears dried up. But then I'm like, yo, if you are the victim in this, and I'm asking you what happened so that I can figure out who I need to go talk to, why are you crying? And then maybe I'm insensitive, right? Maybe I'm on the opposite end. But I'm just like, what's going on with these kids? They literally think that their tears can get them out of anything. And I'm like, why are you trying to get out of something that you were never in? Like, you weren't in trouble. You didn't do anything. So what are you crying about? Like, why? And you weren't hurt. I mean, yes, I guess in the moment, ouch. Yeah. But I mean, like a different type of hurt. Like, you weren't the type of hurt that requires tears. You literally started crying because you are so used to these tears. We've taught you, whether at home, the school, everyone is teaching you that you start shedding tears and you can get out of situations. I'm not about that life. I'm not about that sensitivity life. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Like, when kids come into my office and we have to have a conversation because they did something, I just slide the box of tissue. I'm like, here's a tissue, right? Wipe the tears. I'm all about the tears, right? And I'm not going to stop this meeting because you're full of tears. No. That's not what's happening. Don't get me wrong. Like, if there is something wrong, emotionally, like something fundamental, then yes. But I'm like, too often we are just crying to get out of situations, right? So that's the S part. They're very, very sensitive, to the point where, like, if one child says something about another child, let me just put it out there. Like, during the Russia, Ukraine, I should know, whatever, the whole Russia, Ukraine thing, we had a kid who said something negative about Ukraine. And then this child who had no affiliation whatsoever started crying. And let me not say no affiliation whatsoever. Was crying because he thought, or he believes, that one of the classmates is Ukrainian. Not his friend. And he's not even sure. But he felt that he had to start crying. It hurt him. He had to cry. I don't know. But he had to start crying because a child said something, not even anything bad, right? But said something that was anti-Ukraine. And this little boy had to start crying because he believed that maybe in his class there was a Ukrainian child. I'm like, why? So they get brought into my office. I'm like, so you're crying because, like, I don't understand why these woke children are so sensitive. Okay. And again, when I say I'm coming at these children, they're just a manifestation. They're the fruit that comes from the tree. Okay. Then so that's my S. This is sensitive. They're very, very sensitive. I mean, you should visit the nurse's office. The things that they come in for. I'm like, if my sons ever showed up to the nurse's office for this nonsense, yeah, we'd have a problem. Okay. Then we have the E, the entitlement. I know I don't even have to break that down, because if you've been around anybody nowadays, everyone's very entitled because they're breathing, because Black Lives Matter, because LGBT rainbows matter, because abortion is human rights, love is love. Like, everyone has a title as to why they should be entitled. Okay. So the school is raising a bunch of children to understand, to identify these little brackets that they could fall into, which allows them to be entitled to something. There are people that I interact with who are entitled to housing. And I'm not saying that in a bad way. Please don't come at me. Come at me. Don't care. But if I have, if I have 5 children and housing offers me 2 bedrooms, then I make do. I'm not working. These are someone else's tax dollars are paying for my 2-bedroom apartment. I turned the living room into a bedroom. We won't have people over. But no, our society, we're to a point where if I decided to sleep around and have all these children unwed with different men, and now I'm like, yo, I want a 4-bedroom and you better give me a 4-bedroom because I got all these children. And if you don't, I may want to sue you. What? I genuinely struggle with that. And that's the thing. Let me clarification. These individuals that I meet, that I talk to, that I interact with are good people. But this system, the matrix, whatever it is, has trained them to think this way, to think that they are entitled to certain things and that they've earned them because they're breathing. Our children are the same way. I see this every day. Just it's the little things that get to me because again, I deal with little ones and it starts off small and it just gets bigger, right? The kids who have plenty of food, and they have their own snacks, but because the school offers snacks, they feel like they're entitled to a snack. And my goodness, don't let it be raisins or pretzels because they want Doritos or Sun Chips because they're entitled to that. And I'm like, no. That wasn't the purpose of these snacks. These snacks are for children who actually need, who don't have, who, have a lack of food. Right? But that's not where we are. We are entitled. Our children are entitled. I tell you how often I'm in meetings where I have to talk to the parent and the child. And at the end of the meeting, it's the parent who's crying. I'm just like, why? Well, and the child is like, yeah, I did it. And I'm just like, what is going on here? The child is entitled to his actions. I'm sorry. It literally just blows my mind. So I guess this was me clarifying video 24 or whatever it was. When I say that the system has turned in ABCs, 1, 2, 3s for SEL, LGB, I want to clarify what this SEL is. It's not the original social emotional learning because that is valuable, right? That is part of educating an entire person. That should be done at home, but since these children spend more waking hours with us than they do with their own parents, then yes, we should play a role in the social emotional learning of a child. But that is not what is taking place in our educational system, right? What it is the sensitive, entitled learners. We are raising, we are breeding, we are indoctrinating a bunch of sensitive, S, entitled, E, learners. So parents, for those of you who understand what I'm saying and don't co-sign to that, be mindful of what's going on in these schools. And hands down, honestly, for you parents who are part of this new SEL problem, stop. It is the part of what is going to make this country collapse. Okay? I'm going to leave that at that because my 13 minutes are way over. Anyway, thanks again. God bless you guys, and we'll see you next time. Commercial breaks with Miss Education. Till next time.